Okay, Duncan. So, like many, I've been in denial about whether you're really going to hang up your spurs. My version of Say It Ain't So has been to avoid doing this video, but that really hasn't changed too much. So now I really have to wrap my head around summing up many of the reasons why your retirement is such an emotional and meaningful thing for me, and for critical race theory as well. You know, a lot of folks know that CRT had something to do with CLS, but I don't think many people know how profound your influence has been in providing both the institutional structure and some of the frameworks and tools for critical race theory. The truth of the matter is that there were always just very few white males who affirmatively supported and facilitated the development of critical race theory. You challenged the prevailing views about affirmative action, and particularly, the idea that affirmative action somehow contradicted some of the basic tenets of the civil rights movement. And you argued instead that black communities needed an intellectual class that could engage in the politics of demystifying racial hierarchy and justifying alternative visions of social life. Well, that's what critical race theory became, and it's largely thanks to our relationship with CLS, and more importantly, our relationship to your vision of things. You mentored a whole generation of critical race theory scholars, in part by creating a stage through which a lot of the early work emerged. I tell this to a lot of people, but a lot of my articles were really transcripts of debates that we had, or debates that I imagined having, given our relationships within critical legal studies. And sometimes these were debates between the two of us. You know, our mentoring relationship was far from seamless. I didn't know anything about you when I came to Harvard Law School. First year was just something I had to get through in order to get to what I really wanted to do, which was to study with Derek Bell. But I had you for torts. And I was really, taken by, the way you danced around that course. I mean, literally danced around it in terms of legal theory. And my friends all told me that that was just an opening act. Wait till you really get a chance to, talk to them and go deeper. So as you remember, I came to office hours not knowing how to start that conversation. And the conversation really didn't get started at that point. I think, it was early 80s. I suspect neither one of us knew really what to think of each other. And as a consequence, that initial mentoring possibility didn't really pan out. I'm really glad that we had another opportunity. I think my whole career would have been different had it not been the case that both of us were rabble rousers. We were both critics of the law school, and you were enormously supportive of the Third World Coalition's efforts to boycott some of the offerings that they were giving us instead of what we wanted, which was more race and other work in the curriculum, and scholars of color who were permanently part of the faculty to teach those courses. We then ended up working together on a range of things. You invited me to the summer camp, CLS summer camp, and I felt really special. Of course, you invited everyone to summer camp, or a lot of people. But my world just changed after summer camp. I just saw a fuller template of intellectual debates. I saw how coalitions of ideas could come together and fall apart. And it seemed like an especially important place for someone who was at the margins of traditional civil rights discourse, and also at the racial margins of left discourse. So it's not surprising that critical race theory came up there. I wrote a lot of stuff that you critiqued over the course of my career. And your critiques of initial drafts could really be devastating. But you were always open to the counterpunch, and I liked to deliver the counterpunch when I could, full on. So a lot of my mentoring from you was teaching me how to fight intellectually, ideologically. I know I'm a better scholar for it. I feel like I'm a better person for it. And honestly, I think I won some of those fights with you, so I'm really proud of myself. We started not having a lot in common. That's why cross-gender, cross-race, cross-class mentorships don't always pan out, but ours did. And I think it was because we're both curious and engaged. We're addicted to the thrill and the possibilities of stirring the pot. We're tenacious and stubborn, too stubborn to be put off by doubt or by the realization that at some point, one way or the other, things will fall apart. And it's on this last point that I suppose this day is most difficult for me to size up. You know, my vision of your retirement was that it would be the occasion for CLS to ride again. I had this image of a posse of CLS folks rising out of the distant landscape with other folks from behind ravines and crevices and boulders and coming from across borders that have been the refuge for so many of us CLSers for so long, to show that there are many thousands of CLS riders. But we're not riding into the sunset. We're riding straight for the viewer. I've always been a sucker for the worthy sequel, for the good party, for a great demonstration, for a absolutely amazing debate. The renewed urgency to declare that we are here, still here, is really what I want to convey. For now, I have to settle with the idea that we all are here to celebrate you, and we are everywhere around the world, evidence of the enormous influence you've had on countless careers and on legal education as a whole. So, you know, thanks doesn't seem to be enough today. And let's keep dancing is like way too cliche for you. But for today's celebration, that's what I'm going to say, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dance and celebrate. Tomorrow, I'm going to keep pressing you to hang on to those spurs and hope for the posse to ride again somehow, somewhere. Thanks, Duncan.